Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm sharing a truly inspiring business story. I am talking about Apple and more specifically, the incredible journey of Steve Jobs, who turned a small startup in a garage into one of the most powerful companies in the world. It all started in the mid-1970s in a small garage in California. Two young men, Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, were tinkering with electronics and creating something completely new, a personal computer. They called their creation the Apple I. And in 1976, they sold it to fund their business. In fact, it wasn't a grand vision. At the start, it was just two friends passionate about technology and innovation. In the beginning, things weren't easy. Apple's first product, the Apple I, wasn't an instant hit. In fact, they had to sell their personal belongings to fund their first computers. But their belief in the product and vision kept them going. They managed to sell enough to keep the company running, and that persistence paid off. In 1977, they released the Apple II, which was a breakthrough product. It was one of the first personal computers to be sold to the public, and it made Apple's name in the tech world. This was just the beginning, but there was still one big obstacle ahead: scaling up. In the early 1980s, Apple's growth led to tension within the company. Steve Jobs, the visionary, clashed with the management team, and by 1985, he was forced out of the company he created. Can you imagine? The very person who built Apple was kicked out. But this is where the story gets interesting. Instead of giving up, Jobs didn't just fade into the background. He went on to create next a new computer company and bought a small animation company called Pixar, which would later change the entertainment industry with movies like Toy Story. Meanwhile, Apple started struggling without Jobs. The company's direction was unclear and its growth slowed in 1996. Apple bought Next, bringing Steve Jobs back to the company he founded. And this is when Apple's true transformation began. Steve Jobs returned to the Apples with new ideas and a focus on design, simplicity, and innovation. He led the company to develop groundbreaking products like the iPod, iPhone, and iPad. Products that would go on to change the way we live, work, and communicate. What can we learn from Steve Jobs' journey? Perseverance, vision, and the ability to learn from failure were the key to his success. Apple wasn't built in a day, and it wasn't without its challenges. But Jobs' relentless pursuit of innovation and his ability to bounce back from failure turned Apple into the global powerhouse it is today. This story reminds us the setbacks are just part of the journey. Success doesn't come without hardship. It's how we handle those challenges that define us. So if you're working on something big or struggling with a setback, remember the story of Steve Jobs and Apple. You never know how close you might be to your breakthrough. If you found the story inspiring, don't forget to like and subscribe for more business stories and tips. Let me know in the comments if you've ever faced challenges that seemed impossible to overcome and how you pushed through. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.